Hey guys, welcome back to the Pageant Project. I'm laughing because I realize the background makes me look like an alcoholic. I promise I'm not. That's just where we keep all the liquors. So anyway, there's if you're listening to this, just ignore what I said. But there's all these different liquors that my family and I sort of accumulated over many years. I went through a period when I was in college of wanting to be a bartender. I think I saw a movie. It might have been Coyote Ugly. That might date me if you're interested. And I think for a while I had this fantasy of being a flair bartender and throwing the bottle around and whatnot. And I end up with a bunch of, I don't drink much hardly at all these days. And I ended up with a whole bunch of cocktail spirits, liqueurs that I just never use. Like there's one that's blue curacao. Then I think there's a not triple sec. There's a yellow one, like a Voc. Anyway, promise I'm not an alcoholic. What I wanted to talk about this week, I wanted to sort of go back to basics. We're about to launch my new book, The Beginner's Guide to Pageantry. And it really got me thinking because whether you're at the beginning of your pageant career, your journey, or at the end, there's a lot more in common than there is different. And one of the big commonalities, maybe the biggest one, certainly one of the most important ones, and you've heard this before, know your pageant why. As in, why are you competing? And I know this is much more in common across the spectrum of, where you are on your pageant journey, because we had a group of 85 test readers, and one of the pieces of feedback was that it was great that that was a starting point for the book, talking about why. Why is it that you are competing? And not starting with how to walk, how to talk, not saying that those things aren't important, but that fundamental piece that you need to get clear on at the beginning is, why am I competing? What is it that I want to get out of this? And the reason that's so important is because it informs all the other decisions that you're going to be making across your pageant journey. So, I'll give you a couple of examples. So, your pageant why is going to determine which system you're going to enter. If you are after scholarship money because you are going through tertiary education and you want to graduate debt-free, which is great, by the way, then you are going to choose a scholarship system, more than likely. Miss America, Miss Volunteer America. If you are someone who's into the modeling, the acting scene, and that sort of red carpet area, Hollywood, New York Fashion Week, all those things, then Miss USA makes a lot more sense, or any of the pageants that are more based on your on-stage performance. I think Miss Grand would be another example. If you have an environmental advocacy, then Miss Earth. Here in Australia, they partner with Variety, the children's charity. So if you work with, let's say, disabled or disadvantaged young children, that's going to be a natural fit. So it determines which system you're going to enter, but you think about it, even at the very end of your pageant journey, at least the one pageant, right? You might have another pageant afterwards. But after you finish competing in a particular pageant, and whether you win or lose, it's really going to help you determine next steps. And so let's say if you didn't win and you're considering, should I enter again? And even if I do I want to enter the same pageant again? Your pageant why comes into it. Because very simply, you could ask yourself, and I suggest you do this, well, what was my pageant why? What was my reason for competing? And if I got my reason why, and there's nothing else I need or want, then there's no real reason to compete in the pageant again, outside of you just want to do it because it was fun, and that's perfectly acceptable, by the way. Your why does not have to be fancy. It could just be, I want to have fun, I want to meet cool new people, and that's great. That's still amazing because you know what your why is. On the other hand, if your pageant why was, well, I really wanted to talk about my advocacy and build my platform around that, but you felt that the system you entered didn't really emphasize that, then sure, you might decide to enter another pageant, but you might pick a different system because you want to speak more about your advocacy and maybe spend less time rehearsing opening number or walking on stage in a swimsuit. So no judgment to anyone. It is, horses for courses. You pick whichever way you want to go, but the important thing is that you do get clear on your why. Even at a base level, if your why is to meet new people, have fun, I already said that's great, but then if you don't win and you get upset, I'm going to have some questions for you because you said that your why was you just wanted to have fun and meet cool new people. You did that, and yet you're still upset. Now, I get that from a competitive point of view. I don't like to lose either, but you shouldn't be too upset if you lost, in inverted commas, because winning wasn't your pageant why. Unless you're just caught up in the moment, right? That's fine. Maybe you're a bit upset for a few minutes or a night. But the other possibility is you weren't really telling the truth when you said your why was, oh, I just want to have fun and meet new people, when you didn't want to admit the fact that you're a highly competitive person and you really, really wanted to win and you were in it to win it. Now, again, no shame. Whatever your reason is whatever your reason is. But obviously, it's important that you get super honest about that. Now, there are many different ways to approach finding out your pageant why. I will say on Thursday, when we do our deep dive for our VIP members, I will walk you guys through a short exercise you can do to get real clarity on your why. I would prefer to do that with one of our VIPs. So if you're a VIP watching this and you want me to sit with you and have a short session on clarifying, not determining, because you probably know your pageant why by clarifying it so that it's crystal clear and really powerful, it's a powerful motivator for you, then I will say, if you're free on Wednesday night, US time, or Thursday morning, Australian time, or whatever that is in other time zones, let me know and we can set up a call and maybe have a half-hour session on determining, if it's necessary, certainly clarifying that pageant why. So that's what we'll do on Thursday. So that's what you have to look forward to if you're one of our VIP members. But even if you don't take me up on that offer, the first step is just to ask yourself the question, what is it that you want out of competing? What is my pageant why? But what I will say is you want to go layers deep and think of it like an onion. So onions have those sort of concentric, not circles, not quite. But when you peel away that first layer of an onion, then there's another layer underneath, and you peel that away, there's another layer underneath, and you keep peeling until what happens? You get to the core, the center. That's what you really want to, that's an analogy for how I want you to approach this exercise. You really want to get to the heart of the matter, that core. But what you probably will find is when I ask you the question for the first time, what's your pageant why? Or why are you competing? You will give me an answer that might sound good, but it's a very surface level answer. Oh, I want to have fun and meet new people, right? Then I ask you, okay, that's cool. But why do you really want to compete? So, well, I feel like a bit stuck with my life. I want to try something new. I really want to push myself and have a new experience. It's like, okay, that's a deeper answer, isn't it? That's more of a personal motivation than just I want to meet new people and have fun. So, okay, that sounds great. Why do you really want to compete? It's like, I need help finding my purpose, or I feel like I just need to meet new people and get out of the box that I'm in, get out of the rut that I'm in. And I feel like entering a pageant will really help me, give me the motivation to lift me out of this rut. So for me, it's not about winning, but it's giving me motivation to work on myself. Because otherwise, I might sleep in at 6 a.m. and hit the snooze button rather than waking up and actually going to the gym because I don't have that extra motivation. So it's like, great. So you see what's happening. And that's just, 3 times of basically asking the same question. And we've gone from, well, I just want to have fun and meet new people to I'm in a rut and I really want some help getting out of it. Not saying, by the way, you're in a bad spot, but if you're living in your comfort zone, that's what a rut means, right? You're just living day after day. You kind of know what's coming day after day. And if you're like me, if you're like most people, you don't want your life to be completely routine because that's really boring. Some of you might want that, okay? Again, no shame on you. But I think most people, yes, you want some certainty as to what's going to happen, but you also need, what they say about variety. Variety is the spice of life, right? And so that's the basis of what I'd suggest you do. And that's certainly part of what I'll do on Thursday is show you to go that layers deep. I mean, there are other nuances when you're working with a coach, especially with, I like to say my job as a coach and why I'm good at coaching is because I can see, I'm always watching the person I'm working with, and I can see when something they say or something I say hits or triggers an emotional response. Not everything does, by the way, and not everyone responds to the same triggers. It's like what I've been noticing with my interviews recently. And my final question is always, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates? And some people, they just give an answer, and that's fine. Other people you can see, as soon as I say the word God, and if heaven exists, you can already see their eyes sort of go wide, And then when I ask the question, what do you want to hear God say when you arrive at those pearly gates? A lot of them get really emotional. In fact, there's been more than a few recently who actually teared up at that question. And my point is not whether you're religious or not. That's not the point at all. My point is, as a coach, my job is to look for those moments when something hits home for you, because that's when we go deep, because that's when we sort of hit gold, struck gold. Is that thing for you has some meaning? Let's find out what that's about. And very often it's difficult to find that for yourself, if you know what I mean. It takes someone else asking you questions, probing, having a look, and then going, hang on, you just did something or you just said something. What was that about? And that's very difficult to do for yourself. It can be done. It's just very difficult. So whether you do it with me on Thursday or not, as I said, if you want me to take you through an impromptu session, Wednesday night, US time, as I said, Thursday morning, Australian time, because that's when I record. If you have a half hour free, let me know. We'll set that up. But even if you don't do that, and even if you're not one of our VIPs and you are just, not just, but you're one of our subscribers, but you're not on the VIP level, that's fine, by the way. No judgment on you, but really become a VIP. But I will say, at the moment, it's $9.99 a month. Because coinciding with the release of the book, I'm putting that up to $19.99 a month, because that's kind of the price point I always wanted. $9.99 a month was like the introductory price. So not to sell you, but it just reminded me, it's going up in price by a factor of 2 in by the time you get this email, it might be 3 or 4 days. So if you do want to sign up, now's a really good time. It's $9.99 a month at the moment. That's US, or $97 a year. In a few days, when we release the book, it will go up to $19.99 a month, or $197 a year. I'm not saying that to scare you. That's just what's going to happen. And the reason $197 a year is because that's what I charge for a session with myself. And so I thought the alternative was, well, you can have a session with me, and that's $197, and that has certain benefits, or you can have a year's worth of coaching, the weekly deep dives. You can have a year's worth of that for $197. That's your choice. Or you can have both. So that wasn't part of the plan. I don't have a plan, but that just I reminded myself of that. So now's a really good time to sign up. But I will say, this exercise in finding your pageant why, you can do it yourself, especially if you have someone who's willing to ask you why and to drill you a bit more, and someone who's pretty in tune, pretty empathic, and notices things, right? They're observant. That's the word I'm trying to find. They're observant. And then I go, hang on, what was that about? You acted a bit funnily when I said the word, purpose, or family, or disadvantaged, right? And then you probably are on track to really uncovering that real why, that one that's at the core of that onion, not the surface layer, but the heart of the matter. But if you're one of our VIPs and you are free Wednesday night, US time, Thursday morning, Aussie time, then let me know and we can do that exercise. Just bear in mind, if you're doing that, the whole purpose of me doing that is doing that for free is, well, you're VIP, so it's not technically free. But I'm not going to charge you for that, and that's because we'll record the session and make it available for our VIP members. So just bear that in mind, so that you know that I'll be displaying that at least to our VIP members, and maybe snippets of it to the public. So as long as you're comfortable with that, and obviously if you have personal information, then we can be sensitive around that. I've done that many times in pageantry. So knowing your pageant why, given that it's sort of coming to the end, I guess, of pageant season for many of you, and then you go into hibernation, maybe over Christmas, I think now is a really good time to revisit that. If you've never heard about this concept before, it's time to do it. And if you have heard about it before, I would bet you will get value, a lot of value, from revisiting it, because I don't think anyone's pageant why, I don't think anyone's reason for competing stays the same year after year after year after year. I think it changes. I know it changes, just like seasons of life, right? And you need to just get clear with yourself. Okay, my reason or my pageant why used to be that, or was that last year, but this year doesn't have to be completely different, but it should evolve over time, just like your purpose, whether it's in career, your relationship, your body, your emotions. Your purpose should evolve as you evolve. So whether it's first time and you do it, or whether you've heard this before, I would say do it again. I don't think you can ever do it too much. I mean, I guess you could get a bit neurotic and be in your head, and then it's too much, but you get my drift. And so let me leave it there. If you want to take me up on that Thursday offer, let me know. Send me a message quickly, because I'm recording out Tuesday afternoon Australian time, so I'll be needing to record the Thursday session in 48 hours. So do let me know if you want to take me up on that VIP offer. And as I said, now's the best time to become a VIP. Again, I wasn't planning on selling you guys anything, and I'm not. I'm just telling you, it was $9.99 a month, and we had a bunch of people sign up. And then in a few days, it's doubling in price, literally. So if you wanted to sign up, now is a great time. Okay, so take care of that. There'll be buttons anywhere you go. Subscribe. You hit the subscribe button, and it'll take you to where you can sign up as one of our VIPs. So do that. Look out for the book that's dropping very, very soon. And I will see you on Thursday, or I'll see you next week.